Hi again. So today we are going to be looking at your work packet, day 2, which is under Tuesday, and it was an article called A Butterfly or a Moth. So I hope that you all have had time to read that, or if you do get on the ReadWorks website, it's readworks.org. You can sign up as a student, and the computer will actually read these passages out loud to you. You can just search for the passage name and pull up the passage, and you can have the computer read it while you follow along with your printout, or you and your family can read it together. You can read it independently. That is totally up to you. But this was comparing and contrasting a butterfly and a moth, and I'm sure that you all have seen both. Yesterday, we talked a lot about the life cycle of a butterfly. A moth is very similar to a butterfly. It just is a little less colorful and it comes out at night usually. You'll probably see those outside your house, especially near lights at night because they are attracted to lights. So I have just made a T-chart, and remember we make these in class all the time. And I know that this is probably backwards for you, but I'm just going to read it. So on this side, we have the differences between the butterfly and then the moth over here. So the first thing is that a butterfly has colorful wings and a moth has brown wings. So if you see like an orange or a yellow butterfly, you can tell automatically that that's a butterfly because they are very colorful, whereas a moth is brown or tan or beige. The butterflies have thin bodies, whereas moths have fatter bodies. Butterflies are active during the day, so you'll see those usually outside on nice warm spring days. And like I said before, moths fly around at night, and they are especially attracted to lights. So if you go outside at night and you shine a light, you will probably get a couple moths that fly to you. And then the last thing that this article talked about was when a butterfly rests, it folds its wings. So you may see a butterfly on a flower and it'll have both its wings closed. But when a moth rests, it opens its wings. So sometimes you may see a moth land on the side of a building, on your house, and they'll usually lay flat with their wings open. So those are some differences between a butterfly or a moth, and hopefully when you are outside, you can see them and you can now distinguish the difference between a butterfly and a moth. So let's look at these questions, and I apologize that I have to have these pulled up on my phone while I'm looking here, but the first thing is number 1 says, what do butterflies and moths have in common? So I'm going to give you just a few seconds to go back through your article and look and see if you can find one thing that a butterfly and a moth has in common. Okay, so we actually answered part of this question yesterday when we said what kind of animals are butterflies, and the answer was insects. So the right answer, C, is that butterflies and moths, they're both insects, and that they both like flowers. So number 2 says, what two insects are being compared in this text? So we've talked about that a lot already, and hopefully you can tell by the pictures, you can tell by our T-chart, but the answer is A, and that is they are comparing a butterfly and a moth. So they're telling you similarities, things that are the same, and differences, things that are different about a butterfly and a moth. Number 3 says, if you sat in a field of flowers at night, you would probably see moths flying around. What part of the text shows us that this is true? So I want you, if you have a pencil near you, I want you with a pencil to go back and underline or put a star beside where you see in the text that moths like night. Your answer for this question is B. It is that a moth usually flies around at night. So if you found that sentence in the text, then good job, you found the answer, and hopefully you underlined it or put a star beside it, because that is the sentence in the text that gives you the information that moths are more active at nighttime instead of the daytime. Number 4 says, what is a butterfly or moth mainly about? So I talked about this yesterday. Let's think about the main idea. It's what is the text mostly talking about? So don't think about just one detail. So the answer So this question is B, and this text is mostly about butterflies and moths. So it is about the similarities, things that are the same, and differences, things that are different about those two insects. The reason that A is not the answer is because it also talks about moths just as much as it talks about butterflies. And the same with C, it talks about both of them, not just one. And then this is a question that you can either write in your journal or you can tell a sibling, you can tell a parent. But what color would a moth's wings be? And we talked about that with our T-chart. And we also talked about it in the article. And a moth has what color wings? I will let you all answer that. And then if you would like to write a couple sentences, you can compare and contrast a butterfly and a moth. So you can write down one similarity between a moth and a butterfly, and you can write down one difference between a moth and a butterfly. So what is one thing that is the same about both of those, and what is one thing that is different about both of those? I hope that you enjoyed this article. I know over the past 2 days we have gotten to learn about butterflies and now moths today, and I think that that is so neat. And I hope that you are ready for tomorrow's lesson.